Welcome to today's segment on the Dellice Talk Show. We are looking into stress management. For some weeks now, our goal has been to look into how to have optimum health and wellness. And stress management is one of the key components when it comes to what to do in order to achieve an optimum health and wellness. So that's the conversation. That's the awareness we are creating on today's segment. And thank you for joining. I hope that we will have a really good, informative time. And not just that, taking action with the information that we gather on today's show. So we left off at a point where we looked into some of the wrong ways we utilize in coping with stress. See, the best way of taking care of stress is to manage it so that you can reduce it, eliminate it. However, what you do must be a positive way of coping with stress so that you can be able to live without that emotional strain, that mental strain. So by all means, if you need help managing your stress, if you need to talk to your healthcare professional, by all means do that, because this is not intended to give you medical advice or therapy or any of those professional help that you may need. If you do need help, please reach out and get help. But here is what we're doing by way of this show. We are creating awareness. We are starting the conversation. We are here getting the ball rolling that, hey, these things do happen. They do affect our lives. And so let's begin to talk about it. Let's begin to create the awareness. Let's begin to stimulate ourselves, asking ourselves the questions. Probably the kinds of stresses we have and the level of it are some things that we can do to change. There are some self-help things we can do to change them. And probably we may need professional help. So I'm here starting this conversation so we can determine wherever we are. Maybe some of us are even excusing stress. We are making it look like, oh no, we're just downplaying it. Oh no, it's not stressful. I just have a million things to do. Oh no, I'm just like that. I have that kind of personality. And we make excuses, and this stress keeps on being in our lives. And you know it. Research shows that stress untreated, okay, if we allow stress to persist in our lives, it brings the presence of disease. However, one of our big goals is to eliminate or at least reduce the presence of disease in our lives so we can be on the right track on our journey to optimum health and wellness. So in today's segment, we are looking at some of the right things to do. And I personally like the way helpguide.org puts it. Okay, they have these steps that teaches you the right things that you can be doing yourself to reverse some of these wrong ways that we cope with stress. So let's begin to look at them. I like the way they put it. They said avoid. Okay, that's one of them. Okay, alter, that's another. Adapt, okay, that's another. Accept, that is the fourth one. So here's what I want us to do as we get into the meat and the bones of what these actually mean. I want us to take a quick break. And when we come back, we will be looking into these areas one at a time. Hope you'll stick around. It is a short break, and see you soon. welcome back. So, in the right things to do so that managing stress can be effective and positive for our health, for our mental health, for our emotional health, for our physical health, we need to, one, avoid. What do we avoid? We avoid certain situations that create the stresses in our lives. Okay. What are some of these? Either situations, either circumstances, either environment, either people. See, there are, for example, some people that may create stress in your life. And of course, because life is a unit, okay, it has the physical, it has the emotional, or the soul, it has the spiritual. Of course, you can pray in dealing with stress, but after the prayer, there are practical things that you need to do. So determine some of these relationships. Okay. Probably you may want to reduce the time you spend with certain people because they may cause you stress. Okay. So you avoid the number of times. Sometimes you avoid over scheduling things. Okay. Probably you have so much on your to-do list. And some of these things may not be really key. And because you have all this you want to do, it may be creating stress. So there are some things that are not really key, you can avoid them. There are some relationships that may not be key, you may reduce or maybe even avoid them. It depends on the relationship. I'm not here saying avoid your family and friends and the people who means a lot to you. That's not what we're saying. But you know when a relationship is helpful or hurtful. And it is a decision that you have to make. Okay? There are sometimes we all hear this about morning rush. Maybe drive time can be stressful. Yes, you can avoid it. Probably you want to change the routes. Probably you want to change the commute time to a little earlier. But it's something that you can avoid. So there are things you can do by way of avoiding them. Okay? You may need to learn how to say no sometimes. Because sometimes the more you say yes to things, you have so much on your plate and it creates stress. Okay? And you are the one who needs to be in control to take care of stress in your life. Nobody can do that for you, even though they love you. So you need to determine, am I saying yeses to things that are creating stresses in my life? Much as I may love those people or those things, I maybe need to be realistic and begin to say no by way of, learning to avoid over, acceptance of yeses or whatever. So begin to practice this. Okay? Of course, we all come from families, friends who love us, families who love us. Okay? We come from neighborhoods that we have very important relationships. So this is not suggesting to you not to stay connected, and downplay your relationships. But we are saying that there could be some of these relationships that are not helpful. And you can tell. So begin to look into them and see what are some of the circumstances, what are some of the things on my to-do list, what are some of the commitments, what are some of the individuals that are that becomes a source of stress in my life. Because I'm on a journey, you are on a journey. It is to the big picture. Live a life of balance and fulfillment. We come a little down. We want to have optimum health and wellness. There are 4 components. One of them we're talking about is stress management. So I need to, have eyes like an investigator and begin to investigate my life and see some of the things I can avoid in my life that may be causing me stress. Because the point is that you are in control and you have a part to play, the major one, of course, when it comes to managing stress. You cannot blame others. You cannot push the blame. You cannot make excuses. You got to face this head on, knowing that you are the one in control. So look at your life and see what are some of the things I could avoid. What are some of the things that may not be really key? Probably for some of you, you turn into the evening news and you begin to see some of these and they make you angry and it leads to, all sort of stuff. It doesn't give you positive emotions and, it creates sort of anger or whatever, stress, whatever. And, you got power, you are in control of your life. There's some things you can avoid so that you can be in a positive frame of mind and be able to work on your journey to a fulfilled life of balance and fulfillment, and also optimum health and wellness. So let's take a quick break. Don't change that dial. Don't turn this off. We're having a good conversation. We're taking a quick break and we will be right back. Welcome back. Stress management is what we're looking into. And we are looking at some of the things we could do to bring stress in our lives down. In other words, what are some of the positive, some of the productive things we can do to cope with stress in a positive way that helps us to have a mental frame of mind without strain, that helps us to have a balanced physical life without stress leading to other things that are negative in our lives. That's what we're looking into. And now the next thing that we want to look into is how we can alter some of these things. There are some things that you can alter in your life that would help you to have a life that has stress coming down, bringing stress down. There's some things you can avoid. There are some things that you may not be able to totally avoid, but you can alter. In other words, you can change some of these things in your lives. If you cannot totally avoid them, you can alter them. Okay, what are some of these things we can alter? Some of these things we can alter: procrastination. Maybe you procrastinate on your homework. And when the time is coming, now the stress begins to come on. Maybe same thing, some of these relationships you cannot avoid, but you can alter the way you deal with things. Probably you keep things in, you bottle up things until, it's not going to go away because you bottle it. It's not going away, it's still there. So probably you want to alter your attitude, the way you deal with some of these things. Probably instead of bottling up, you're going to alter your attitude and share your feelings in a positive way, in an open-minded way, okay? So that the people involved will get the message without getting blamed. Okay? So you find words, how do I express myself, that does not say you are a bad person, you are the source of my problem, so that you can just say how you feel in a respectful, productive way. Okay? So some of these things we can alter. Probably I need to alter my commute time. Probably I need to alter some of these behaviors that leads to stress. Okay, so you gotta look at your life and say, okay, what are some of the things I could alter in my life? What are these things? And altering can be circumstances, it can be relationships, and if it has to do with relationships, you're part of that relationship. Much as you are sharing and you are hoping that the people after you share, okay, I used to bottle up, now I'm going to share so they can know how I feel. I'm going to find the right way of communicating so I don't communicate blame, so I don't say that you are the problem. But in the meantime, I also need to alter maybe some of my behaviors because probably you think the people contribute, but probably you also contribute. So there was this thing of what we call compromise. You expect them to compromise, but you also need to alter and compromise. So altering things, changing things, okay, involves you taking charge, of course. You may knowing that I'm in control is actually a powerful tool that begins to put you in a mental frame of mind to deal with stress, to manage stress. So, okay, yeah, I need to alter things. I need to change the way I communicate my relationships because when I keep things in, resentment builds, anger builds, and stress goes high. So I want to change them. But you may be part of the altering process. You may also need to look into how you sometimes also deal with people. So keep thinking about how to alter some of the things in your life that causes stress, how to alter them that will help you to manage stress. We'll be right back to keep the conversation going. See you soon. Okay, welcome back. Let's pick up from where we left off. So some things you can't avoid. Some things you can alter. Some things you may not be able to alter. You may not be able to change. You may have to adapt. What are some of these things? For example, we were talking about commute in the morning rush, and we said, okay, probably change your routes, probably change the time. And probably you've done all that and there's still high traffic. Maybe adapt. Maybe it's okay. It is time that I get to do a breathing in exercise for the next 2 minutes as I wait. Adapt the situation because you cannot let it go away no matter how much you try. Adapt to it. See the glass half full instead of half empty. Adapt, change your mindset, change the way you see things. If you always think, oh, these people will not change. Because see, there are some things we can avoid, there are some relationships we may avoid, there are relationships we cannot. If it has to do with you and your spouse, avoidance is not a suggestion. You want to have an open dialogue. You don't want to bottle up, you want to have an open dialogue. And here's where I like to say that life is in 3 facets. You pray about the problem also. But you know me, it's not just prayer, practical things to do. So life is in 3 aspects. It's a spiritual. So you can bring that to help in your stress management. But it's not time to bottle up. If it has to do with a spouse, it's time to respectfully, in an open communication, begin to get into dialogue. I feel this when express yourself without expressing blame or any of such things. So now we need to adapt. Well, it may not be as bad as I see things. Well, while I go through this circumstance, while I cannot change it, what can I develop? What is the character trait that I can develop? How can I be better in this circumstance? Okay, maybe I may have to use this to learn patience. Of course, if it's not a safe environment, if it's not good for you, there's no suggestion to stay in an environment that is not safe. You know what we're talking about. We're just talking about the daily things that causes us stress. Okay, so in the daily things that causes us stress, we want to be able to bring down the stress, bring down the strain. So some things we can avoid, some things we can alter, some things we cannot avoid, we cannot alter. we need to learn to adapt. How do we think? How do we see things? The way we see things are very key. They are very impactful. So adapt to some of these things. We want to manage stress because, we are a unit. It's not just, oh, I want to lose weight, oh, I want to be healthy. It's a unit. Your soul, your mental capabilities, your emotions, your will, they are all connected. They're all part of you. So you need to look at these different facets and work them all together. If you want to adapt, it involves your soul aspect, your will, your willingness, not just to hear me say adapt, but look at the situation and say, okay, what can I do about it? I've reviewed the situation, and with all that, I think I need to adapt. Now you are involving your what? Your will, your mindset, your decision to say, okay, I want to do this. Okay, that is why I love to create the awareness that we are a unit. On your journey to managing stress, you got to work it together. Either it's knowing how to adapt, either it's knowing how to, alter things, whatever. You got to do it as a unit. Think about this. We'll be right back for our last part as to some of the things to do to manage stress in a positive and productive way. We will be right back. Welcome back. It's been a good conversation creating the awareness as to how to manage stress. So it's been found that stress is documented that it is one of the major leading causes of most diseases. So on our journey to have optimum health and wellness, we cannot overlook stress and how to manage it. We cannot pretend it doesn't happen. Okay, all we need to do is to be aware, be realistic, be real with yourself, be honest. Okay, search yourself, know the sources, know the wrong, maybe unhealthy ways you may be coping with it, and move to the right ways of coping with it. Okay, and one of such positive ways of coping or dealing with stress is acceptance. Okay, there are some things you cannot change. You may just have to accept it. And because life is a unit, while you accept, you pray for God's grace. Say, Jesus, help me in this area. Okay? So that you can be able to go through, maybe it's something seasonal, but it's something you cannot do anything about it. You just have to accept it. And say to yourself, well, at least I have this. So you begin to develop thankfulness. Well, and it could have been that bad, but at least it's not that bad. You develop the attitude of forgiveness. That's why life is a unit. Lots of times it's not easy with our own willpower to forgive other people. We can go to God and say, God, I have the desire, I want to forgive. I just can't let go. Please help me. Because life is a unit. So you think that stress, yes, you are in control. Yes, it depends on you. But your life depends on God. So you can go to Him for help. Say, God, help me. This thing stresses me out. This thing makes me angry. This person makes me angry. But give me the grace. Because I know that I could also make other people angry. That's just what it is. So with that grace, you can have a bigger heart for people. You can rely on that grace to forgive while you work through whatever stage. Okay? Okay, if it is altering, if it is acceptance, you work through them. So these are the 4 A's. Okay, avoiding, altering, adapting, accepting. These are some of the techniques, the tips that we are sharing on the show today that will empower you, that will equip you, first of all, to manage stress in a positive way, to manage stress in a productive way. And once you manage stress in a productive way, it's going to help you on the ladder to optimum health and wellness. And on an optimum health and wellness journey, okay, it's going to help you to live a balanced and a fulfilled life, which is our main goal on this show. So I thank you for tuning in and being part of this conversation. Let's keep creating the awareness. Let's keep spreading the word. Let's keep sharing. Let's keep coming back on the other platforms that we have. And together, let's one person at a time spread the good news, spread the awareness. Because we are in this together. We want to manage stress. We want to, on this cycle of the 4 components of having an optimum health and wellness, we want to be on the positive side. And together, we can live a balanced and a fulfilled life. So I sure thank you for tuning in to be part of these awareness creating and these tips. By all means, if you need professional help, please reach out. Don't keep to yourself, okay? Our goal is to begin to create the awareness and get a conversation rolling. It is not to say that this replaces the professional help that you need if you do need it. But by all means, let's get the conversation going, and let's look into being on the positive side of stress management and our optimum health and wellness. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you on the next segment. Bye-bye for now.